What is up, everyone? This is TCOY. Hope you're having a good day. So obviously I haven't done this in a while, and we want to try and get back into some build orders. But what I've realized is I'm obviously not that great at the game because I don't get to play every single day. Maybe have about 4 hours a week. And on the weekends, maybe if things go well, a little bit more. We also have a lot going on in our personal life, so it's quite hard sometimes getting to everything. But I'll show you what the plan is. We have a build order guide that Beasty has done, and I'm thinking of practicing some of the build orders because I've had some really decent success with these build orders. Obviously, the higher we go, the more complicated or harder is going to be against higher level opponents when you get into diamond and possibly challenger. That's the goal, just to climb the ranks a little bit. So I've been playing ranked for quite a long time. I love the game, absolutely do. I used to stream a little bit in background, but then we moved countries, so it's been a bit hard. And the main thing is, you can see here, the highest I've ever gone was Platinum 3, I think, um, which was in season one. That's a very, very long time ago. We're back now in season 12, and I'm sitting on a 52% win rate, and hopefully it's going to go up a little bit more. So the main goal is just to stream, show some videos of, the build orders that we see online and practicing them so you don't have to. So let's go straight into it. The first game I want to show you guys is the very first one I've done, and then we'll go to a middle ground, of which one that I found a little bit more difficult, and then we'll go into the most recent one, which is obviously a more high ranked player. I also did some research on the ranking system, how it matches you with MMR and all that, and that's a video for another day. So straight into it, just to explain the quick build order from the screen. You will immediately start onto food, right? And from food you have 2 on gold, everything on sheep. You use 1 villager immediately to build your Varangian war camp. Age up with your Imperial Hippodrome, and that's going to be your main production of units. But I found once you scale into castle and you've gone for at least 2 or 3 relics, you then have enough wood to scale into more Varangian strongholds, and that kind of solidifies your army. One weakness that I found in this build order is that if you don't get the early stone and the tower up, you sometimes are prone to getting raided. And if you age up to age 3, you often get, if you place too greedy, let's say I want to go secure this golden berries over here, and the guy just pushes my gold with 1 tower, I sometimes get overwhelmed and I struggle to hold. So I think a safer tower placement is definitely ideal, like something like on top of the berries wood line over here would be better, or even the gold wood line over here. But I feel if you have a gold and berries or gold and food on the same side, I would rather secure this because that is much more valuable, especially with that quick castle age transition. So as you can see, 2 on gold, 1 on food here because I transitioned onto the deer. What Beastie said is, if you find the deer within the first few seconds, like we did over here, got lucky with that sheep, then you go into the deer immediately, because if you look at the deer, that's 350 food, and deer gathers faster than other food sources. I often do get the survival technique upgrades, especially when you have quite a bit of a walk with the gold. I find that with the timing of walking over to the deer and walking over to the gold, the timing works out pretty solid, right? So all we're doing now is scouting him out. Another tip that I'll give you is I use control 1, control 2, and let's say I want to build with these villagers, I'll use control 4 on them, and that's how I'll get around on the map. That's kind of my sweet way. And the other thing I'm struggling with quite a lot is if you have a bad scouting round. I actually don't know how you change perspective of the units. Unix player. If you can use, there we go. You can change fog of war. I think we have the age up, yes? Do we? Or that was the enemy caster mode. Sorry, I'm still learning, guys. Just take it easy. So there's the next player, Fog of War enabled, there we go. So he's already probably aging up. No, still on gold, so he's not going to age up. And we're looking at the town center. I went 3 on gold because sometimes the Japanese likes rushing with the early unit. What I should have done, obviously it was the very first time I did the build order, you should put a tower, but what I've seen, instead of putting the tower forward, you put the tower backwards, because it gives the units a further distance to run from there to there, or from here to here, so rather have it further backward. You can see I am transitioning over to wood immediately. I still sometimes struggle to get the villager production going all the time, but the main thing is you're not having a lot of early pressure. You're not going to get night rushed in the Dark Age. Worst case scenario, you have a man-at-arms or a Japanese soldier, a spearman from Ottoman, something like that on your gold early on. So just be wary of that. And our main benefit is those cavalry units. They are so strong. Also, food dropping off, it's not a high priority, especially if you go onto the early deer, which means you can just, you know, stay out onto deer as long as you can, find as many sheep as you can, do a longer scout run so you can get back with as many sheep as possible. But if you get your tower placements good with going on to berries, you have the extra sheep, you have the deer, you can estimate around 6,000 to 10,000 food, which is quite a lot, right? If you're using 1,200 to age up and 400 to age up, it gives you about 4,000 to 5,000 food to use for units. Second part of the build order while we're aging up would be to have your units on food transitioning, like you'll see now. Getting my goal, so stone, forgot the tower, there's the tower. So you want to have the tower, you want to have the stone, and you want to make sure that you just have these few basics in place, and that's kind of the gist of it. Once you have that under control, it's just a micro battle, as you can see, getting the scout sorted. So I'll play it from my perspective. These villagers are 4, scout is 1, 4, town center 2. Just those key buttons again. So they drop off the stone, and now I have the core mechanics in place. I have my stone gathered, I have my tower being built, which means I won't necessarily get raided over here. And essentially, up until you age up, you don't have more than 5 villagers on your gold, because a tower can only handle 5 villagers. So 6 is overkill over here. These villagers are exposed, so if you have like a night civilization, then that is dangerous. And now you go into the fun part, right? So first thing you want to do, if you have the stone early on, I would delay this many on food to have a little bit more on stone, so that you can build your Varangian arsenal, because with this you generate silver from your mining camp. And I find that often you see this horseman, this is scout, this horseman and this scout, I transition out to keybind 4. Their main goal is just to create a bit of chaos and, you know, stop the second town center, get a villager pick, just create some idle time, right? So I'm going for some pressure over here. I have another scout putting pressure over here. So just showing you how I'm microing anything. 4-1, just focusing on getting the opponent's attention on me and reacting to it, right? So at the moment he has the tower, so I'm not saving or costing him any resources. He has the advantage for the second town center. But if you're looking at our resources, it's going pretty well. There's a second horseman. Sometimes I go for just one, depending on what you see when you're scouting. There we go. I lost the scout over there, but I'm still going for the idling. Let's see if I get this one. Oh, I didn't get the villager. But we are going to go for the forge. Just create some pressure now. So there's 2 horsemen plus the scout. The scout has a extra torch damage. And keep an eye on the resources. I already have enough gold, and again just a bit of idle time, pressure on them. I set this on fire, so I know he either has to go to repair it, And I don't mind losing these horsemen. I just want to get the pick. Essentially not losing the scout. That's probably not nice because they are quite expensive, 120. Same as a horseman. So, but you get it for free, right? So you don't want to just lose it. But he's going for the second town center, which is fine. Idle time, idle time. This is not getting finished. That's being burnt down. Scouts in the base, and that's what we're after, right? You can see now we have our second upgraded horseman, which has 3 armor. And keep an eye on that. 3 armor, 3 ranged armor, 2 armor, and Radari is the main bread and butter of what we're trying to do. If you're playing against a lot of spearmen, then that's also, you know, hard to do. But you can see now the villager lead is 30/26, and all we're trying to do again is just creating that idle time, because, you know, we had like 6 or 7 villagers here that was idle. This town center was delayed. Yes, we did lose some units, but we're just creating that clicking, causing him to look around the map and not being able to do or execute his plan or think differently. We did force him to build the 2 barracks because he saw the obviously the horsemen, so he's expecting more, and a 3rd barracks going out. So that's probably just his standard build order or what he's trying to do. But from our end, we have our units out on the map. Often what Beasty said, which is pretty cool, is you use one of your units to secure the food or the gold where they need to expand to. So in this case it's pretty hard because double gold, that's a pretty good spawn. But in my case, you know, if I had to isolate this gold, I would secure another unit on this gold, and you'll see that on another map. Just so we don't have to worry about losing the gold or securing your food, right? So we're in the middle of the map now. We've created a bit of idle time over here, 4, 5. Another one I want to show you guys that I often do is military units. I'll often chuck on 7. So this plus a Varangian guard, what do you call it, your Varangian stronghold. I put that all on 7, and you can just tab in between them. This plus markets I actually put on 8. So 7, 8, 1 scout, 2 town center. H is also town center hotkey, so if I'm out on the map and I press 8, that you see it jumps me back immediately. So that's just a few hotkeys that I use, and then again just gonna create some idle time as much as possible. See if we can get a pick or 2, just bring this closer together, because you often are going to be behind on villagers if they go to town centers or docks or anything like that, but that's okay. So we have sheep. We've pretty much gotten the whole deer pack, which is pretty amazing, and yes, that horse is getting pounded, but it's fine. And I actually missed this for a while, but look how much damage this guy can take. Right, you want to be very careful not to lose the upgraded units because they are very expensive. 130, 30, 30. So that's, you know, 220 resources there. I cancelled the. I think I was going for an extra Varangian arsenal over here. I cancelled it because I'm very close to aging up, right? And oh, there we go. Almost done aging up. Look at the time. 10 minutes age up. I know, like, Holy Roman Empire ages up very early, but remember this landmark actually shoots crossbow instead of tower. So this will wreck armored units. So now these units, the upgraded units, they also heal over time. So you can see in combat and out of combat they heal. So that plus the scout can be very valuable to heal up. And he's going to now try and catch the age up, but again, all we're trying to do is play slow, because we don't care that he's going to age up. There's not a big villager difference right now. Our main priority is to get these 2 upgrades, the Blide inlining and the Scale Barding, which is your horseman upgrades. And you can already see that this horse has 6 range armor, 5 melee armor, and they do a crap ton of damage on their melee attacks. They don't have a charge attack, but they are very, very strong. So that's a Hippodrome Radare, which allows units to infantry units to move faster. So if you have archers to complement this for spearmen, that's really good. And all I'm doing, I'm securing the relics just so there's no information that I'm losing. And he's gonna now push for the age up, obviously, and we'll keep using the Imperial Hippodrome and the monastery to produce units. I actually produce the stable here, which is sometimes cheaper, just to have that production going for the Rudari, and they're on the same hotkey W, so if you train them then it's fine. Sometimes when you produce the Varangian Stronghold, you struggle because you need to tab in between them to have the same unit production. But these units are so strong right now, like 6 ranged armor. That's like Imperial Age level of ranged armor that they already have. And all we want to make sure is any fighting we can do right now, like imagine like the Order of the Dragon, right? They have stronger, more expensive units, and in this case you can see we have 10 on gold, not many on food. We have 3 crossbows, that's already like 300-400 resources there, and it's a pretty big army that we have if we have to go all in right now, right? 4, 5, 6, 7 horsemen, 3 crossbows, and I'm not playing aggressive to go and punish him because you can see the villager gap, but I'll show you where the kind of power lies, because the age up is happening, we're focusing on the relics. This relic is going to be picked up. What I often do is you click on the monastery, you click on the relic, and you back click on the monastery again, and that gives it a pick up and return order, which you don't have to then micromanage. It's just going to go out onto the map and do it. So back home we have that second upgrade going, and I often go for the ranged armor first. So again, in this case they have on the enemy side, right, that's 6 on our Bugesha, which is not that great because they're going to get wrecked anyway, but you have the 2 Katana Battermen, which are quite strong. They have 9 damage, no extra damage versus cavalry. And you have the 1 spearman. So ideally from his side it's not the right unit comps, and he hasn't been producing units. So, like I said, it's middle platinum games, it's not really crazy. He has a few spearmen over here, a few Onabagesha over here, but these knights are on 27 damage, 6 ranged and melee armor, so you can do quite a lot with these units without having to worry about your manors, your towers. They're not going to do much damage against this, honestly, because look at the health. It's 264 health, and when you get the next upgrade it's going to be even more, another 5% more, right? So not major production. Villagers are going up, and let's see how this plays out. I'll just go a little bit faster here, show you how this plays out. I get rid of his whole army. Now I have my knights and everything over here. We're gonna start running him down. I see the age up happening, so what that means is I know there's not a lot of units here, because he went for 2 town centers. It means he has to focus on villager production, right? If this was all spearmen, it might have been a bit more of a risky fight, but because you have so many of them with such high armor, you'll need about 20 to 25 spearmen to manage this, which means you won't get the age up, which means this timing for him is actually just a rush, which is good for us because it means there's not a lot to defend us. And what we're going to do now is just try and get as many picks and villagers as we can. So Modon, I just attack move this. While that's busy, I have more units just securing little points on the map. The gold, I know that's the secondary gold. I get the Imperial Fisher there, or the floating gate unit, and I'm right underneath 2 town centers. But look at how much damage these units can take. And I was what, 20 odd villagers behind, right? So that's example number 1. I know this was quite an easy game because he didn't put a lot of pressure. I'll show you one that I also lost, which is this game over here, which was against Mongols, I think. And also, if you guys have any feedback or any opinions about the streaming or the sound quality or anything like that, it's just a new series that I'm starting, so just let me know. Is this the one that I lost? Defeat, surrender. I actually lost against Juicy Legacy. And this wasn't a loss because I didn't do the right thing. I wasted my army firstly. And the second thing that I did wrong is I was very greedy on the age up tower because I didn't expect all these units. Again, that's just from a scouting thing. So we'll go into caster mode. There we go. I'm just going to increase the speed here to 4 because you guys know now the build order. Food. That gold's quite far. So there's the gold. 2 on gold. And Juicy Legacy, don't really often expect them to rush similar to China and those type of things, but it is good if you're expecting a rush to get a tower earlier. So this was my 3rd game I think on. Personally, I really hate this map. This map drives me nuts because you often don't get a lot of sheep and there's so much resources that you have to invest into visibility. It's often quite easy to get caught out. 2 minutes 27 for the age up start, and 2 on gold, getting that extra wood to get the tower up, and just going for the age up. He also has a meditation gardens. What I did with this game, and you'll see that, is the harassment. So obviously there's a few things for us that's valuable on his side after scouting. So from player perspective, that's what he can see. That's what I can see. You can see I haven't scouted him out yet, right? So we'll just keep forwarding that. I would recommend rather scouting out sooner so you have an idea of where things are. But as you can see now with the timing here, I did the tower first this time. Now when the horseman comes out, the scout comes out right after it. So they run together, which is pretty amazing. I almost got the pick over here. And I can see I found the meditation garden, and now I just want to know what is the food sources, right? So if he has a lot of sheep like this, he's going to be underneath the town center for maybe 2 or 3 minutes. But once that food source is gone, the next option has to be berries, which is fine for us, or it has to be what he has over here, which is stone, wood, gold. It's a very big security over here, and this is also a very big security over here if he had to go expand onto this. So now our villagers are getting picked. I should have retracted. I didn't expect him to push onto the villagers, and I thought this horseman was the upgraded one, but it wasn't. It was just a standard horseman. So I've already lost a villager, and I think I'm gonna lose 2 or 3 villagers over here. This is just so rookie mistake of me, right? 3rd villager down, 4th villager down. So I'm pretty low on the economy right now. I thought I was creating idle time here, but again, if he's not on gold, he is getting free trickle gold from this, which is 22 per minute. So it's not great, but it is something. Which means I didn't get a lot of food here, and I lost 4 villagers, which is massive, right? So I said, okay, instead of doing anything there, let's go on to the meditation gardens, and I'm rotating the other horsemen over because of the scout. You get the extra torch damage. And I'm actually not scared of the spearmen because the extra, this unit here does quite a lot of extra damage. So, you know, that's valuable for us. We want to try and torch this down, get that resource out of the game. But at the same time, you know, he has more information getting on the map. I'm trying to go for the age up, as you can see on the resources. Just speed this up. And there's the change of something that I didn't scout out. So instead of just trying to get rid of this, which is the right thing to do, I could have gathered more information by having a scout probably sit at the back over here to get an idea of what's happening, or having these units you know, just poke onto something. What can I poke on? There's no food over here, so the next safe food is probably going to be here, or it's going to be the deer, which has now disappeared because he went for pro scouts, which I didn't scout out. I didn't see that. We're still doing the same thing. I went heavy onto wood because I thought that might be a better idea or strategy, which delays my age up. You know, but you can see he's already torching down the mill, causing a lot of pressure. I'm trying to get the pick on the units, like I said, you know, just trying to get information or put some pressure. But because of the spearmen, which is the right approach, I should have just rather focused on keeping those units safe. And because I didn't have food over here, and the berries or the deer has now been literally stolen from me. This is only when I figured out that he's doing pro scouting, and I was like, okay, well, this is dangerous, and that's probably what won him the game, because he has free food and safe underneath his town center, which I think is a really good approach for this civilization. Because I have to transition into farms or berries, and I'll show you how silly or sad this ended up being. So we're almost ready to age up over here. Just keeping the horsemen safe as much as I can. Quite a lot of spearmen, obviously, so I should have transitioned into archers. Again, trying to get the gardens settled down. Almost lost that unit. Picked off a scout. Still keeping them alive, which is great. And then I've already seen he's going pro scouts, right? So I've already lost most of my deer. So why did I go with a golden horde tower on top of deer that doesn't exist anymore, right? So in this case, where I'm actually starting to see a mass unit count or this pro scouting, I would rather take my golden horde tower and put it almost on top of my food, or you know, in this type of scenario, I would either go here. I would also build the lumber camp, the mining camp a little further away, and putting the houses maybe in this first line with this on the corner here. That might be a good place to start with the build order. But you can see the farms are there. I have some security on the wood line for my gold. Some more berries at the back here, but any good player is going to scout that out. And this is now a strong army compared to what I have just with a few knights. It's 5 to 23, right? Okay. Because this was in the wrong position, he sees it. I barely get a unit, and he just runs around it, right? Now I'm in a situation where I have to respond to trying to build a fence, which I couldn't use, and I also had to run away from gold, which I eventually went down here to try and get just a little bit gold, but idle time on my villagers because I had to garrison into my town center. And now I have a villager disadvantage of what I lost earlier, but I don't have the security of this golden horde tower, which should have been either here or here ideally, you know, just to create that protection, because that plus the town center is some massive protection. Because this is a strong army. I have the Radari, I have the upgrades, so I know I can do the damage. And I thought I was doing pretty well with this fight, but because of the amount of spearmen that I upgraded as well, he's H3, I just lose all my units. And that's worst case scenario, because if this was here, plus that army and just keeping everything safe, it was a different scenario. And I'm struggling over here because I have 1,800 food, I don't have enough gold. I should have transferred more villagers onto gold, which I could have probably transferred those villagers. You want about 10 to 14 on gold, which means I would have had Rudari production, and probably go over to archery ranges. So, you know, if you see something like this, you have to pivot. And yeah, I ended up losing this because I couldn't defend. I keep losing my army, I keep getting pushed off my gold, I have no protection because of this tower, and I surrendered, right? We'll use a third example, another different civilization that I played against. I think it was the Golden Horde. He was pretty active on the map in terms of harassment. This was a French player. That was a mirror matchup, same story. He actually went with a different landmark, but that was an easy win. Cliffside, Japanese again, Golden Horde, there we go. I know it's gold players, but you know, I'm gonna try keep doing these build orders as you age up for different. You know, the goal is to get to challenger, or conqueror rather, and we'll just speed up onto the build order again. Scouting on this map, interestingly enough, you sometimes find sheep in the middle, sheep on the little cliff side, and then I do a little loop back towards my own side. And there's one there, as you can see this time, it's only 1, 2, 3. If I turned left and went onto his side, there's one sheep over there. He's gathering the sheep over here. I often like just going onto this corner because you pick up those first few. And I find like most people go left, eh? Like, I know I'm left-handed, so I tend to go up. But for him, you know, he went up as well. So I don't know if that's just the norm or just something I need to learn. Because if you find his scout early and you see his scout, then you obviously don't want to avoid running behind him, because that can become a very big thing. You can lose out a lot of sheep and information because of that. So standard build order, tower, food, everything on food. I have the Varangian Warcam. Often I forget to put this over to Radari production, and we'll just speed up to the age up, because everything else stays pretty much the same. Put the sheep back, so save food. I scout out the deer, and I actually get enough wood for a house and for a mill. And then I transition over to the deer. Not with everything, just enough to start gathering that extra food while it's still out on the map. And it's a bit of a later age up. I think I lost 15 or 20 seconds because of the extra wood that I needed, right? And I went for 3 on gold. He actually did scout it out, so he knows I am on the deer. He's still on the sheep, nothing crazy there. Very safe deer for him, so he could have gone for that as well. And now we have the Imperial Hippodrome getting spawned. You can see how bad I am at the game, right? I'm forgetting to train villagers, I'm not doing my upgrades, I'm not building the base properly. There's a lot of improvements I can still do, right? But the ideal thing is, I want to make sure I have some form of control, and he goes for a stable. And how the Golden Horde works, if you produce a unit, I think if you produce a single unit, you always get 2. So there's 3 units, and this is a very formidable army. I mean, 6 minutes. If you're French or HRE and you're trying to fast castle, you're going to be under a lot of pressure with these units, because it's a, you know, extra damage, 3 armor, 3 melee armor, another one over here which gives the Khan extra damage. But it's a big army. Like, you have to respect this. It's not just an army that you're gonna walk over when you approach it with, you know, horsemen and a scout. But I saw this was coming. I think from scouting, or when he, I think, ended up going onto the wall. We'll see just now. So I have my units. I think I see this. That's why I went this way. I tried blocking off the wall. He didn't see the villager, which is fine. But I pulled the villagers off of food faster. I isolated on the gold. But that's fine, because I can play this game. Should have gone back onto this earlier. And also, something I made a mistake with is I scouted out that the gold was the side, right? But I forgot that the gold was this side. So instead of running straight this side, I first went over here instead of going over here. So I lost that extra 10-15 seconds to get onto his gold. Now he's trying to torch down the wall. I just carry on building the wall because I wanted to secure the boar, the food, and just a bit of the wood line and the deer if I can get back to it, right? I lost one horseman here because I'm poking him with damage, but he's not responding to it. And then I accidentally lose the horseman over here. population gapped. There we go. And some pressure on the wood line. I lost the horseman as well, but I'm just forcing him to respond by training some units because it's expensive. 240, 160. It's a lot of resources. You can see I'm almost ready to age up, and respecting the units, garrisoning when I need to. Getting the camp up because you can train spearmen with the Varangian stronghold as well if you need to. So just do a few of them because I have the extra food. And now I'm very close to getting the age up. I have all the upgrades coming through. I have wood, which is going to support my production of everything. And I was like, okay, instead of going for berries, which doesn't secure me much, let me guarantee my wood line, my gold, my food, and a lot of base protection. So I think that's a lot safer. Yeah, again, not the greatest player because of the run by. He could have killed the unit sooner, but he tries to make sure that he has a gap into the base. So he's on the map. I have the tower up. Now I have the double production of Radari. You can see I have 10 again on gold. 10 to 12 on gold is fine, but you don't want to go earlier than getting your second upgrades because that's kind of important for those defense units. You can see here all I have is one horseman and the hippodrome horseman, but the extra damage is actually crazy. It was actually able to kill the Keshik. The only reason why is because this unit heals, and it's 275 against 150, so that's the big difference. They're a lot tankier than you think because of the extra health from the upgrades. So we're in a good place. Our base is safe. You can see the bigger difference this makes now because I have the tower in its place, and we're just going to keep focusing on getting our upgrades done and getting the monastery down. I've cancelled the stable so that I can do a monastery because I have this and I have the Varangian arsenal, so I can do the double production. Again, I'll put that on 7. I have my scout generally like this. I can do it on 1. Town center 2. This on 8. And the production is on 7, right? Army I generally do 4, 5. There's some villagers on there, very risky, but I thought it was worth it. And now I'm not trying to cause too much chaos because I know I've aged up and I can see the age on his side. And the villager difference is because I forget to train villagers instead of just constantly producing. So it's very balanced right now. He gets the age up, and he goes for the veteran upgrade on his Keshiks. I had my units out on the map and I locked them in with the walls again. And I lost the 2 villagers on this wall. So all I wanted to do is secure the relics. So there's the first relic coming back. I have my units here and I'm probably going to get the scale barding very shortly. There we go. So why I like going for the scale barding is often the melee armor is more than enough to handle unless there's like 50 spearmen, it can handle. But I just wanted to make sure that I have the scout, I have the extra hippodrome horsemen, and I have at least 5 or 10 units while I'm securing relics. It would probably be better to hold this, use this like I lost the relic here. I should have had those units sitting here instead of in the base. So that's just confidence that I need to work on. But because you have the Varangian Wargamp, you put that over to Radari, you have the 2 production units, you have the monks, you have villagers, you have 10 on gold, which is fine. I have food, I have safe boar, I have berries, I have deer. What more do I need transitioning over, right? So now I know I have 2 or 3 relics. Let's have a look. 2 relics. I'm trying to get some more. And now he has to go out onto the map, and this is I think why Macedonian Dynasty shines, right? This is a formidable army. I've gotten 4 plus the 3 that I had over here, so 6 free crossbows, which is what, 600 odd resources. I have relics control, I have free unit production from anything I lose, which should have been over to the Rodari, and I have a Rodari with 6 range armor, 6 melee armor, and 28 damage, right? Compared to the Keshik, which is 20 damage, with very high ranged armor and average melee armor comparing, but often than not, this is going to be a a death ball. Once you run through his army, your focus is just to create as much chaos as you can. And it wasn't as easy. Like I'm saying, yeah, okay, I did this and I did that, but I'm learning the limits of the units. Like here, I'm running straight into spears. That is worst case scenario for most people. But I have the horsemen, a few archers, a few spearmen. It's not an ideal comp versus 10 or 20 spearmen, but because I have so high health on the Rodari, 264 versus 180, right? That's kind of where the difference starts making a big difference. Get all the spearmen, try and keep my crossbows safe, and I thought I was losing this fight. And I won. I won against how many spearmen? It was like 10 or 15 spearmen. And his whole army is gone. So instead of backing off right now, I did send a scout to verify where he's getting gold. I just protected with some wood lines just to avoid any run-bys. I hate run-bys. And adding some extra production, monastery. At this point you probably are starting to look at adding farms if you don't have enough food on the map. And this is what I was producing in the base, obviously, while I was still busy raiding, because of that 7 keybind. Boom, 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 7. So every time I'm busy with my units, I can just press 7 while I'm busy, train a few Rodari, and then back onto my units and I'm fighting, right? So I want to make sure that we have some form of advantage, because he's lost a lot of units now, so you don't want to stop putting the pressure, but it's also not fair just losing this. I would rather take a army comp like this, sending them back and let the prelate heal them up, and using the fresh army, which is quite strong, and causing pressure somewhere else. But I don't. I kind of still run it down underneath the town center. Now I back off because I don't want to just lose the units. A few archers and crossbows over there. I get a prelate, and this is not healthy, because you're underneath the town center. You're reducing military for military in an unfair trade. So this is just losing resources. But if you created any idle time, that is ideal, which is what I've done over here. I did scout this out earlier, so now I have 4 very strong Rodari right on top of his units, and now you can keep an eye on the villager count. So I left him there. He has a crossbow on me, which you would expect to do a lot of damage, so he's starting to run. So I get a good 10 villagers over there, and this army is all getting healed up, which is great. We're on 4 relics, 4 relics versus 1, I think. Going for extra siege workshop, going for the food. Keeping the Rodari out because I'm trying to isolate the gold, and I think that was my strategy for this game, is not to kill him, but to force him to fight for gold. So I have this upgraded army. Now I'm sitting on 13 Rodari, which that's like 20 knights at least, with a few spearmen. Not crossbows, I forgot about the crossbows. Again, there's 3 crossbows, level 3 crossbows. And now I'm just rallying to the front. I split the prelates up to create the pressure of the sacred sites, and he's doing good by having the fortified outposts, which is great, but he's already lost this gold, unfortunately. And you can see the gold per minute, 800 versus 1000, and I guess the difference there is just the relics, because my villagers still hasn't caught up. I'm still 10 to 15 villagers behind, right? Look at this army, 16 archers, which I'm not sure why. That should have been crossbows, Rus tribute. I don't know how strong the tributes are. Let's have a look. Oh, they're pretty decent units, but they probably don't have any extra damage. Oh, they do actually the extra damage versus cavalry. That's a pretty nice unit to have. I didn't know that. Increase heavy infantry and heavy cavalry ranged armor. So those units increases these ranged armor to 7, and we're on 7. So pretty fair matchup, but we have the extra health. And we have crossbows instead of archers. We have 5 archers, but mainly crossbows, and he has mainly archers. So target fire archers on crossbows, use the cavalry on cavalry, and try not get hit by the mangonel, right? Attack move. Get the mangonel, and now we're just mowing down the archers. Such a big army, and what I've done here now is I am willing to sacrifice this army because I'm the aggressor, right? I have all my relics, I have my units prioritizing moving forward, I have safe food, I have safe gold, you know, everything's secured on my side, right? I have three sacred sites, I have the relics, you can see how high my production is. But he still has production. That's what I want to stop. So my goal was to stop his production because I know 15 villagers is all you can handle in the town center. Anything else means it's getting grouped for slaughter. And I just attack moved this in every direction I can, just so I can deal with the economy, and he immediately taps out. So focusing on the build order, I think it's a pretty good one from Beasty. I would definitely rate it like 8 or 9 out of 10. From his side, just because of the details on when and where to move things around. I think, you know, the timing he explains is really good, but I think from a platinum or gold perspective, it's maybe a little bit more helpful of a real world scenario. Hope this video helps. If you liked it, give me a thumbs up, and I'll try to improve these videos and do it a little bit better in the future. Hope you have a wonderful day. Cheers.